Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. I found a cure for my hacking onions. So what I did, and I will show you. I happen to have an onion because I cook it in my omelets. So I actually took my omelet, my onions. These are onions, and I put them on my feet. Took my socks off, just like this. Put it on the feet, on both feet, and my hacking stopped. There's something about the onion. There's something about the properties of the onion that extracts the poison of the hacking. And all I know is I didn't hack once I did that. I was hacking bad yesterday, and then I did that and pretty much went away. Um, so, FYI, onions, and when we talk garlic, we talk cayenne pepper, we talk the Celtic salt, all this healthy stuff in our in our seasonings. It's amazing, but I'll put it on my feet again today, just because I'm still hacking a little. Now, this charade called comex, gold 40.20, the 10 o'clock drop, but we had this huge 4 o'clock drop, and then we had a 7 o'clock drop. Now it's 40.13. Silver 48 roughly. So the question is, what the fuck's going on? Because the US is selling, but they don't have any gold. What the fuck's going on? Oh, it's the paper options that's going on. There is no physical being sold. This is all options. This is not profit taking. I hate when these announcers say, "Oh, they're profit taking." This was due because it had went up so much. People are taking. No, this is paper. This is not physical gold. There is no profit taking. You buy an option. So right now it's being shorted at 40.12. So somebody's doing an option, shorting it at 40.12. Are they out of their fucking minds? Yes. Is it a Ponzi scheme? Yes. Is it bullshit? Yes. Because there isn't an ounce of gold being sold. Oh, maybe an ounce at the store. But I hate when people are so stupid that they don't realize if we all bought a ton of gold, the price would go up. No, it wouldn't. And if we all sold a ton of gold, it would go down. No, it wouldn't. Because it's not priced by physical, it's priced by paper. This is JP Morgan fucking around, shorting it based on what the Fed probably wants, which makes 0 sense why the Fed is shorting gold. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, we'll get the price down. It's already been to 4,400. I think people realize it's gold. So it's at 4,000 now. There seems to be a lot of resistance at 4,000. So it's been down about 4,020, 15, and then it goes up. So that seems to be what happens. So there is demand there at that price. So here it's 40.13. It's ridiculous. This is not the real. Well, first of all, it's a paper price, which most of these guys on YouTube they just don't understand at all. They don't get it. They don't get it's a paper price. Well, it's profit taking. It went up a lot, so it's just pulling back a little. No, there's no pullback. This isn't a stock, and this isn't physical. So this is bullshit. Hey, Todd. WW on one teaser with the overs and pro. Broncos saved my ass. Yeah, the Broncos. I had the Broncos, but that wasn't the big game. I mean, my big game was obviously the Dallas over, um, the Houston under. My only loser for the week was Tampa Bay, who had they kick field goals instead of going for it every freaking time on fourth down. And that's really the problem is people, the coaches don't understand the more points you score, the more chance you have to win. And going for it on fourth down does not get you points, especially at like the 10 and 15-yard line. 4th and 1, they go for it. They don't get it. They've just fucked themselves. Anyway, so back to this. So gold and silver on COMEX is paper contracts. It is not physical. There is no physical price of gold. We understand that and take advantage of this bullshit paper. So if everybody's buying gold because you got to get out of the dollar, then what is this nonsense at 4 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock in the morning? And now it's happening again a little bit. What is this nonsense? How could the price of gold be going down when the demand's huge and everybody's getting out of dollars? Because it's bullshit. It's not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. And of course, JP Morgan's behind it. Like he's behind all this bullshit. This is price fixing. This is not free market, supply demand. I want it. I'll pay more for it. I don't want it. It'll go down. This is not nobody wants. This is an options driven down bullshit. This is a paper price. And that's why you buy the shit out of it right now. If I had money, I'd be buying. But I've already bought. So I don't, we just can't be bothered by it. It's nice that it was going up and got up to 4,400 or 4,380, whatever. But this in no way is real of the price. That's why we buy. We buy cheap. That's why people are buying on COMEX. China did get it up to 4160 at about 3 in the morning. So China's doing their buying. And then Europe is selling. So London's selling. I don't know why. I don't know any strategy here except for they do the option. They short it. The price goes down, which doesn't benefit them. I don't know. What are you trying to hurt China because they have 80,000 tons and then you're lowering the price? Does China pay any attention to it? But guess who's buying this? China bought it and they asked for delivery. Where's the US and London going to get the gold to deliver? Oh, they can't because it's not available. So I believe what's happening, this is for buying, and this is the end of COMEX. I believe COMEX is just blown up. And this is the last straw because you can't control physical with paper. You're asking for paper here. All this is options. There isn't a 1 ounce of gold being traded here, right? And so this price isn't real, which we know. We know it's worth 10 times more. That's why I say it. Because in the real world, in gold, physical, nobody's selling. And as I say, and I use the Titanic as a very good example, the boat's sinking, you get into the lifeboat. Are you going to get out of the lifeboat and go back on the boat as it's sinking? Only an idiot would do that. So no, once you're on the lifeboat, you're in it. So once why did you buy gold? To get out of the dollar? Because this is collapsed and this is collapsed and they're all worth nothing. You can't reverse the inflation. You've already printed this to death. Therefore, I'm selling this to get into gold. That's my Rumpelstiltskin. But once I'm into gold, I'm on the lifeboat. I'm not selling my gold because the gold price went up. to get back into dollars. Only an idiot would do that. Somebody that's so stupid that they don't understand why they're doing it. You do not buy gold because it goes up $500 and you make profit. You buy gold to get out of the dollar because the dollar's worthless. But how many people outside of this class understand that? Nobody. And so when it does do that, but even if these people are this stupid and they bought these ounces of gold and it went up to 4,300 and they're profit taking, it wouldn't lower the price. This price is not lowered by people selling or buying. This price is created by options. Eddie Murphy, Trading Places. That's what this is. So therefore, the only reason the price goes down is because they're shorting options. Who's stupid enough to do that when all the demand for gold is just beginning? And this is why all the banks are going to go broke, because they're fucking stupider than anything. So don't worry, this is paper, this is options. They're all going to lose their ass on it. But the key is this is still inflated. So you still need to get out of this to get into gold. That's key number one. So it doesn't matter. You don't have a choice. You're not going to sell your gold to get back onto this. You're not getting back on the Titanic. It's sinking. So you're fine in gold. They're fucking around with the price, but the demand's the bottom line is the dollar is still worthless. That hasn't changed. And your only option is gold and silver, and that hasn't changed. So this little bullshit hiccup here is just bullshit, right? It's a Ponzi scheme. It's made off. It is not real. These are paper prices that have nothing to do with reality. And our physical gold is worth 10 times the amount, and silver that you see here. You see silver, 48.14. So the real price is 480. My guess is 1,000 an ounce based on demand. And gold's 40.25. And the real price is probably 40,000 then. See, nobody understands that when it gets fucked up like this, and the price the paper price goes down, but in the physical world, and you can go to a mantle card on eBay, it never goes down. You got a mantle rookie. Well, you don't even have a mantle rookie. You can have a mantle 1965 PSA 9 worth about $80,000. Price never goes down. The price keeps going up, right? Or it stays. But you can never find it for 40,000. And that's a mantle card, right? So gold's never, 40.27 now. It's just paper. This is the whole problem with COMEX. It's a price fixing mechanism. But how do they derive it? They derive it by options and derivatives. It's not the way you derive a price of a physical object. And it's too much government and politics coming in. But since most of the world's buying gold, then you really scratch your head. So this is being done by the Fed, which is the most corrupt organization ever. They make the mafia look like Boy Scouts. Good morning, Nick. Yeah, I'm getting better. I showed I used onions on my feet, and it actually helped my throat. So funny, every freaking out about the price drop. Worst drops is 23, such panic. And nobody understands it except for us, right? See, that's my point. You have to get somebody like me to trust, to understand what's going on, just like in football. I grade the teams because when you bet on a game, you have to know why you're betting it. You can't just, I like the uniforms or this or that. You have to understand why you're betting the game. And that's why we want to bet against Z teams and we want to bet over games. Look at last week. Alabama, LSU, or Alabama, Tennessee over, yet Oklahoma, South Carolina under. Well, how could we make those bets? How do we know? Are we just guessing? No, we know Tennessee puts up 80 points when they played Georgia, Alabama scores a lot with the coach. And so we see that and we go, oh, these are over teams, and we bet it over and it went over. And these are under teams and we bet it under and it went under. But it's the same here. You have to understand COMEX and gold and silver to play it. You have to understand the dollar's worthless. You have to understand this has no value. But how are you going to understand it? Nobody's going to tell you that. Go to a financial planner at Merrill Lynch. He's not going to tell you that. I can go to the bank. They don't know. They're just salesmen that want to get you in stocks. So a lot of this is, this is down because people want to buy gold and silver cheaper. That's my first point. China or Russia or somebody wants to buy, and they wanted it cheaper, and now it's cheaper, and now they can buy it at 4,000 instead of 4,400 or 4,300. Not a big difference, but that's what's going on. Is the U.S. buying gold? I don't know. They're too stupid to buy it. AT1. The Georgia under cost me 600. Okay. Well, I assume you made more than that on the Oklahoma under with USC. I mean, there's always going to be price points. There's always going to be losers, and there's going to be winners. And you're not going to win every game. I would think you would know that. So, okay, but tell me the winners you had. How much did you make on USC and Oklahoma? Why don't you tell me that instead of the Georgia under cost me 600? Right? There's going to be losers. We know that. I am not a genie and I cannot go 100%. We know that. We know it's gambling, it's forecasting, it's problem solving. I had a great week. I was 16-4. So yes, Georgia under was one, which was a surprise, but it lost. Okay. But we had the Florida under, which won, and everything else. So how much did you win on the Dallas Washington over? Right. So I don't get why people come on and do this. Like, I don't get the point. Do you expect 100%? Then you're not living in reality, because that's not going to happen. Anyway, so again, COMEX is paper priced. The physical price is not even a stat. We don't know what it is. We don't know the actual physical price of gold, right? We know the physical. We see the paper price right now, 40.37. The buying's begun. We see that, but that's paper, that's options. You cannot buy gold for that price. However, the gold dealers put $100 premium on it. So if I went to my guy right now, it'd be $4,137 for an ounce of gold based on the paper price, which is the wrong way to look at it. So that's the point. You've got to be very, excuse me. You got to be very careful with that. But if you have that knowledge of understanding that this is a paper price and the physical price conservatively is 10 times more, then you go to the store, you buy it at this cheap price, and you sing and dance on the way out the door. All right, let's go to pro football first. Now I've updated my grades, and I've got the new things. So we looked at it. We gave our free pick was Denver Dallas over. The way the Giants scored on Denver and the way Denver scored on the Giants, they should light up Dallas, and Dallas should light it up. So even though they got an 18 defense, obviously the Giants got a lot more than 18 points on it, right? So that's the free pick right now. Let's get into what it is. So that line is Denver 3-57 So it's a 50. So you'd be over 44 in a teaser. That's the free play. But let's go through all the other games. San Diego, 3.5, 44.5. This is Thursday night. The game's in San Diego. We'll have to check the injuries on the offensive tackles. They're both hurt for San Diego. The running back's hurt. I don't think he's that good anyway. Herbert's playing. Their defense has injuries. Their defense is a 23, which is unusual. Normally, they're like a 17, 18. Minnesota's an under team with a 21 defense. Now you got Carson Wentz, who absolutely sucks, against Herbert, who's okay. I was just putting the teaser trends in, so I will do that when I'm done here. They're both considered under teams. Minnesota, obviously, with Wentz, doesn't score that much, has a good defense. San Diego can score with a 23 defense. So I've got them marked at under. Again, this is the problem with the average. Soon I'll go to the last 5 weeks and then redo it, because this is weeks 1 through 7. So I've got Minnesota, San Diego under, but we can clearly see San Diego's not playing under ball. What did they played last week? 38-24 to Indy is not under games. So we have to adjust, and we have to this is where you got to be careful looking at the numbers going, does that make sense? The San Diego 23 defense makes sense when they gave up 38 to Indy. So we catalog everything, and we'll start soon looking at the last 5 weeks, throwing out that week 1 and week 2 bullshit. So possibly not an under, but Carson Wentz does hold them back. So not sure what to do with that game yet. We got Frisco, Houston, 1.5, 45.5. 41.5. Yeah, I was going to say I got 41.5 written. Both are under teams, and here I believe it. Houston, great defense, a 15 defense, and CJ Stroud, who stinks, and San Francisco also an under team with a 20 defense, and I don't know if it's Jones or Purdy. I believe Jones. I don't think it matters. I think he's capable in San Francisco, even though they have wide receiver problems and defense problems and everything, and they still beat Atlanta. So this game probably more than likely would stay under. Maybe you tease Frisco. Not sure. Let's see. The Bears go to Baltimore. Baltimore 6.5 and 50. Lamar didn't practice yesterday. He's had 3 weeks from the hamstrings. It could be a severe hamstring like Dak had last year. I don't know. They're both over teams. Chicago at the 26 defense, but again, they had 3 secondary guys who were very good were out. Now they came back, so you can't look at the first few weeks. So they played last week to New Orleans 26-14. So they played a 40. Caleb and Lamar. Okay, so Caleb stinks. Lamar is a good runner, not a good quarterback. Both are over teams. Chicago with the 26 defense, Baltimore with a 32 defense. Now, part of it was they played Buffalo, they played Kansas City, they played Detroit, but still their defense sucked. They still have a lot of defensive injuries. I'm not buying Baltimore minus 6.5. It's hard. I need Lamar to go over, because Caleb, I don't know what I'm getting. He just wants to dance around in behind the line. So it's a tough one. This should be an over, but you're not sure. You need the players. You need Lamar, whoever else, the running back for Chicago. They played what? It was they scored 26 on New Orleans. They're starting to score with the Ben Johnson offense. So keep that in mind. All right. Buffalo, 7.5, 45.5 to Carolina. Buffalo, a B team, 23 defense. Josh Allen. Carolina, an under team, 22 defense. And it looks like Andy Dalton. I like Andy Dalton a lot better than Steve Young. Um, Buffalo, no, Buffalo is off the loss to New England, and then they had the bye. So look for Buffalo to be pretty pissed off here. Carolina, I don't buy them. 22 defense, so it's a lot better than last year's was in the 30s. Buffalo is not as good on the road as they are at home. Carolina, I just can't see Carolina winning this game. They're not. They're just not that good. So we'll see. But Buffalo did surprise us losing to New England. So we got to be careful with Buffalo. Taiwan, TK, you're advertising. You went 16-4. That's not accurate. You paired Georgia and Florida unders together. Georgia lost. Florida won. That's a loss. It's a loss, my guy. Okay. But we're talking apples and oranges. I'm not going to get into that. Let's see. I'm talking picks. You're not talking picks. So whatever. The Giants, Philly. Philly 7 and 43.5. They're both E teams. The Giants are E team 25 defense, Jackson Dart. Philadelphia an E team 24 defense, and Jalen Hurts. We've got Philly is 7 and 43.5 in there. Philly off the loss did off 2 losses, did get the win last week against Minnesota and Carson Wentz lit them up for 22. Philly's defense isn't as good as it was last year. They let a lot of the guys go, and therefore they didn't do anything. The Giants seem to be scoring with Scatterboo, Dart, even though he can't throw, runs pretty well. They did light up Denver with a good defense. So I don't know. I Philly should win the game, but I don't think their defense is all that. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is all that. They're not running Barkley. I think teams are keying on Barkley. The Giants don't have a great defense, as they showed us in the fourth quarter when Denver just went up and down the field. I don't know why it took them till the fourth quarter to do that. So I don't know. This is not as easy as taking Philly. We're missing the strong A teams, and a lot of the weaker teams, like here, the Giants are an E team. So they score 25, they give up 25. We're seeing a lot more of that, like New England and Drake May. They're a B team with a 19 defense. So we're seeing them score with the quarterback running and not throwing. It's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, the throwing quarterback wins, as we know. So I don't trust Philly like I don't really trust Buffalo. I mean, they're both good, but not right now. Barely beating Minnie, but we'll see. It is revenge. Philly lost on that Thursday night to the Giants. They get him at Philly. Probably be a close game. Philly probably wins at home. Cleveland, New England. New England 740.5. We've got Cleveland as a Z team with the 22 defense. Again, they got a pretty good defense. Myles Garrett. Oh, I remembered his name this time. Myles Garrett, 22 defense. We got Gabriel going against Drake May. New England is a B team with a 19 defense, so they're scoring enough in that. Do we now trust New England like we used to trust Buffalo? And we used to trust Philly. Do we now trust New England and Indy like we did trust those? And that's really the key to it. Not sure. I'd like to think so, but just when you bet them, then Cleveland wins, right? So you got to be careful with them. But they're not. If I take this game, it's because they have a 19 defense. I avoid Philly with the 24 defense and Buffalo with the 23 defense for New England with the 19 defense, right? You want that good defense. That shows up. Cincinnati, 6.5, 44.5 to the Jets. They're both Z teams. The Jets, 26 defense, and now Tyrod Taylor, I believe, will quarter, not Fields. Cincinnati, a Z team, but I don't know if they are. I think they're probably an over team now. You've got flat. What was the score? They played 33-31 game with Pitt, who has a 21 defense, who has a pretty good defense. They put up 33 on them. So here you got Flacco now, and all of a sudden he's hitting Chase and Higgins. So he's got receivers now, which he didn't have at Cleveland. So they're probably more of an over team playing the JETSs. The line's 7. Again, Flacco he just knows how to hit the guys. He's much better at it. Tyrod Taylor probably want to run a little bit. So I think Cincy, I don't know. It's a 31 defense. You can't go over with the Jets. So I think you take Cincy here. But again, I think they're more of an over team. So this is what you have as the year goes on. The teams switch, right? They switch colors because all of a sudden they don't have a quarterback. They get a quarterback like Cincy. They have Burrow. He gets hurt, and they bring in Flacco, and they're the same over team that they were with Burrow, basically. So they're back kind of having not Joe Burrow, but somebody who can quarterback. But yet the Jets go from Fields to Taylor. I mean, so they're changing a little. Minnesota's got Wentz now. You've got Jones at San Francisco. You've got Andy Dalton playing for Carolina. All these are different. The quarterback's the key. So you all have different things. Miami and Atlanta. Atlanta 744.5. Miami's a Z team, 29 defense. Again, it's a terrible defense. Tyreek Hill's out. We don't know the quarterback because they pulled Tag last week. Are they going with Tag this week? Or are they going with Skylar Thompson or whoever hell the backup is? Against Atlanta, more of an under team with a 20 defense. I think they have a terrible offensive coordinator. You've got Penix, you've got Bijan Robinson, you got London, you've got the talent, you got Pitts. You should be scoring 30 points a game, and they're not. They're more of an under team, so they score maybe 21, 22 points. Again, we'll have to look at the last 5 or 6 weeks to get a better conclusion. Now, I still think Atlanta's the play here coming off of the Niner loss. Just too much talent for Miami, who has a 29 defense. So one of the keys we're looking at here is, Ken Penix, is he going to move on Miami with the 29 defense? Don't know. I mean, in other words, can Cleveland move on New England with the 19 defense? Probably not. But can Atlanta move against Miami with the 29 defense? Probably. So that's really the key to it. 29 and when the game's going on, what we're picking is, can this team move against that, and can that team move against this? And that's what you look at with the points, the 29. So you're saying Atlanta should move on the 29, but Miami probably is not going to move on Atlanta's 20. So that's how you kind of, and if both teams are over, then you go over. All right. Tampa and New Orleans. Tampa 446.5. Now we know Evans is out. We know Godwin's out, but Ibaka played, and then they have other receivers. This is pro football. The backups are usually pretty good. Tampa's an over team with a 25 defense, but it looks a little bit better than that. And the Baker against New Orleans, a W team with the 27, and Spencer Rattler doesn't look good. They've been playing a little better at home. This is a division game, so they see each other twice a year. Usually that goes to the dog because the dog can play better. So New Orleans will probably play well. Tampa, off of the loss, a road favorite. Can we go over in the game? I don't know. Can Rattler score enough points for you? We'll see. He's getting a little bit better. He still sucks. Tennessee at Indy 1447. Indy, one of the few A teams in the league. I'll go through that in a minute. Indy an A team with the 20 defense, and Daniel Jones, who is he good? Is he suck? This is another thing that you have to get used to. Tennessee Z team, 27 defense, and Cam Ward, who sucks. So you've got a team with no defense and no quarterback. Indy should pound them, but it's hard to lay 14. Now, Kansas City laid 12 or 13, did win. They 31-0 over Oakland. So you had a rare occasion. You had a big favorite that actually blew out the team. The way Indy's playing, they should blow out Tennessee, but you're laying at least 8 in the teaser. Unless you do the 10-point teasers, that'll be 4. Dallas and Denver. Denver 350.5. Dak against Knicks. Dallas an over team all the way, 29 defense. Denver a B team, 18 defense, but as I said, didn't look like an 18 against the Giants. And this is your free play. This is your over. So you're going over 44. Now we just got to figure out who to play it with. And this is how I do my when I say I'm 18-4 or 8-1 in the pros, this is what I'm saying. If I give you Dallas Denver over and it wins, that's a winner. How we dice it in a teaser, you can't really get to, because I'll put this in 2 teasers or 3 teasers. So I'm not really counting that I win or lose the teaser, because I might win one teaser with the over and lose a teaser because the other team didn't cover. So you can't possibly look at my teaser thing. You look at the picks, and then you go with the picks that way. That's how I view it. Okay, Green Bay at Pitt. We got Green Bay 3-45. We've got a B team in Green Bay, 21 defense. Love, who's looking worse and worse. Pitt's an even team with a 23 defense and Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay is a bad road favorite, as I pointed out, and we had Arizona last week. Pittsburgh is an E team, 23 defense. I don't know what's going on there with J.J. Watt. I see them blitzing a little bit more. I honestly don't know what to do with this game. You see Micah Parsons, and you see, and so maybe it's an under game. I think it'll be the same as the Arizona. Arizona was 27-23. So it was a 50 with 2 good defenses. This could be over with Aaron Rodgers. Love, I don't know. Pitt's defense pretty good. Pitt's probably a live dog in the game. I don't know. That's why I got to study. In our last game, Washington, KC 10.5, 47.5. Washington, an E team with the 24 defense. It's either Daniels or Mariota. I assume Mariota. Daniels with the hamstring, but it's not bad. But you know how Daniels is. He'll want to play. And Mahomes, KC, an A team with an 18 defense. They're starting to score. They're starting to dominate. I think they normally just relax during the year and they win sloppy. They just want to get into the playoffs. Then they turn it on. But because they lost the Super Bowl and they started out pretty weak, they hit the panic button early this year. So it's Christmas for us as we're watching this game go up, run. So with Daniels, this is probably an over. With Mariota, he's not going to score. Maybe you take Kansas City, maybe you take the under. But we got to wait for Daniels if he's playing or not. All right. Let's look at our grades. We got our A and B teams. We got Buffalo, a B team. We got New England, a B team. We got Indy, an A team. We got Denver, a B team. Green Bay, a B team. KC, an A team. Of the teams that aren't playing, Detroit's probably an A team. The Rams are an A team. Seattle's an A team. So we got 3 A teams that aren't playing this week. So your buys are Arizona, Detroit, Jacksonville, the Rams, Vegas, and Seattle. So this is the problem with the buys. That's 3 good teams that we normally bet on that we can't bet on because they're not playing. Your Z teams, Oakland, and then we've got Cleveland and the Jets and Cincinnati and Miami and Tennessee. Now, Cincinnati's the Riddler got the question mark. Wait a minute. With Flacco and the way they scored on Pitt, they're probably an over team because they don't have a defense. They got a 31 defense, and Hendrickson's out, or I don't know if he's playing. So that's what you have there. So it's a little different in the pros, the Z teams versus the college Z teams. But so we have 1, 2, 3, let's call it 4 Z teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cleveland, the Jets, Miami, and Tennessee are the worst. And so we like betting against them. That's why we rank it, and that's why we look at them as Z. And then, let's take Indy. Well, they're 14, yeah, but they're playing a Z team. A lot of it depends on who they're playing, what you want to do with it. So if you understand that, so when you see Indy playing a 27 defense, you go, oh, Indy should win that game. Teaser trends. Now I did the whole teaser trend. I haven't done the individuals yet. So teams that you want to play in a teaser. So this is the last this year and or next year. And I look at it, and in a teaser, they're like 85% or more. I put them on the list. So in the last year and a half, these teams are more than 85. Tampa Bay, the Rams, Washington, Dallas is now up there, Arizona, New England, Indy's undefeated this year in the teaser, Houston, Denver, KC, Seattle, and Minnesota. So we've got 12 teams that are 85% or better. Now Tampa and Houston and Washington with Daniels and Denver with Knicks have been up there. But the new ones are Indy, who's jumped up, and then Seattle has moved up. Minnesota's always pretty good in the teaser. But now we got New England, who wasn't there, and Arizona, who wasn't there, and Dallas, who, as we play them over every time, we like them. Now, the play against teams are going to be the shit teams, the Z teams mostly. The JETSs, Miami, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Arizona, Philly, Carolina, and New Orleans. So the new teams like Philadelphia, New Orleans, maybe. Now, Miami and the Jets have been bad for a while, as Carolina. Tennessee's terrible this year. They were terrible last year. Arizona's on both. And you go, well, how can that be? Because look at against Green Bay. It was 27-23. If you bet Arizona, you won. If you bet against Arizona, you won. They play a lot of those games. They play close. They don't know how to win, so they lose it at the end, just like they did against Green Bay. So that's how you're on both sides. So basically, in the Arizona game, tease the dog, and you'll win every time, but we don't have them this week again. So your free pick is Denver, and we'll study that. We got to look at injuries. Will we play Minnesota, San Diego? I don't know. It's a tough one. Is it going over? Is it going under? They don't have the tackles. Minnesota's got a strong defense. Do I take Minnesota? Well, do I trust Carson Wentz? Absolutely not. So there's so many variables to it that you just don't know. You could see the game going either way. It could be high scoring, could be low scoring. When you get to Houston, like Monday night, we had Houston. You kind of knew it would be an under because of their defense. And Seattle's defense is very good. So that you would assume is going to be an under, and it was. Where other games are not. They don't go according to what you think. As T-Wan's pointing out, Georgia, Mississippi. I wasn't sure. I saw Mississippi play a 24-21 game with Washington State. So I said, okay, yeah, against the big teams, they're not going to score a bunch. They have a running quarterback. So we will see. So let's go to college now. Now, I used to do teaser trends for college, but it's too much. It's just way too much, and I don't know how meaningful it is because they play the high school teams. So I don't do that anymore. Let's see, yesterday I did hit the Western Kentucky game I said to take. Let's see, Kennesaw State won 45-26. Kennesaw State was lane 3 against Florida International. Kennesaw State's an under team. Florida International is a W team, sort of like a Z team, but they score a bit more. And look at that score. Well, you couldn't figure that one out. Western Kentucky 28-27 in overtime. LTAC was lane 3.5. They were the under team. The 17 defense. Western Kentucky's a B team, 23 defense. I thought they were a live dog because when an under team's favored versus a good scoring team like Western Kentucky should keep the game close. They actually won it. They've been playing bad, but this is a good win for them. Not that LTAC's great, but anyway. Now, I did not play them in my Teaserking. I don't really like playing these Tuesday, Wednesday games, maybe Thursday. It depends, but I want to play better teams versus that. Middle Tennessee and Delaware. Delaware 9.5, 55.5. Delaware is an over team with a 28 defense. Middle Tennessee is a Z team. They give up 29 a game and they don't score. So you think Delaware should be good here against the Z team if you're inclined to bet Wednesday night football in Conference USA. Missouri State is 1.5, 50 to New Mexico State. Missouri State's a W team with the 29 defense, and New Mexico State's an under team with the 24. Well, they don't score a lot, so I made them an under. You know, it's kind of what do you do? They score 18, 19, give up 24. What do you want to call them? It just is for me, so I know they don't score a lot, basically. Because I can see I put in the defense, right? They're giving up 24 a game. So the under tells me they don't score a lot. Missouri State is favored, which is surprising. They did play USC earlier in the year and lost 77-10 or something like that. So they have played better competition, which will help them here. New Mexico State, they're both 3-3 under. I don't know. I wouldn't touch this game. You just don't know. All right. South Alabama and Georgia State. South Alabama 6.5, 55.5. South Alabama, a W team with a 29 defense. Georgia State, we got a Z team with the 41 defense. South Alabama usually scores, so I don't know what's going on here that they're not scoring. I'll have to highlight the Z teams in a minute. South Alabama. So it's a W against the Z. The W is lane 15. I'll have to check the quarterback. I'll report back to you before Thursday. Now we get to Friday. And on Friday, we've got 3 games. We got North Texas, Charlotte. North Texas 26.5, 61.5. North Texas, very explosive team, outstanding. They're 6-1. Charlotte's 1-6. But more importantly, Charlotte's a Z team with a 35 defense. I think North Texas beats the shit out of them. I might actually play that one. I don't know because I don't like playing Friday games. But North Texas took care of UTSA last week. So that's it. Hey, Prophet, good morning. Cal against VTAC. VTAC 4.5, 50.5. We'll make that 50. Cal's an under team, 21 defense. They're a pretty good team, but they got to fly to Virginia from California. Virginia Tech's a W team with a 29 defense. Frank Beamer's long gone. So they're a bad team. They don't score a lot. They give up 29. And the kicker, VTech, is lane 4.5 here. So I get Cal and 10.5 against the W team, which is probably very close to a Z team. The only problem is the travel. This is just killing you. This California to the East Coast in the Big Ten, and here in the Big 12, flying to West Virginia has always been a tough one. So I like Cal. Cal's a very strong dog there. And no, I haven't played it. I haven't played anything yet. Boise and Nevada. Boise, 21.5, 51.5. Nevada. Boise's an over team with the 26 defense. Nevada's a W with the 28. They have went to Notre Dame, Boise. So they got that experience playing against better talent. So when they play Nevada, they're going to go, well, this guy sucks. This guy's not fast. And they'll eat them up. So look for Boise here. And now we finally get to Saturday, and it's all fucked up. They changed the cadence on me. Ohio, minus 12, 59.5 to Eastern. Ohio an over team, and Eastern Michigan's a W with a 33 defense. Rutgers and Purdue. We've got Rutgers 2.5, 58.5 at Purdue, which is strange. So Purdue is okay. They got a new quarterback, pretty good. But they're not. They're still what? They're 2-5, but they did play Notre Dame and USC. So they were pretty good. They can score, although they got shut out by Northwestern. Probably let's go on 4th down at the 5-yard line instead of getting points. That's my favorite pet peeve. The coach doesn't understand. If you outscore the other team, you win. And if you keep going for 4th down and not making it, instead of kicking field goals, you lose. Very simple. So I don't know. Rutgers, over team, 31 defense. Purdue, an even team, 27. You would think Purdue at home should keep this game close. But do you want to bet on Purdue? That's the question. I haven't bet on them. I did take the over in the Notre Dame and I think the USC game. Speaking of that, UCLA, Indiana 25-54. We all know how good Indiana is. We had them last week. UCLA, an even team with the 27 defense. UCLA is, I don't know. The quarterback got hurt. He's not that good anyway, the volleyball guy. But the new offensive coordinator is very good, getting him a lot of points. So he got hurt through 3 picks. They didn't do anything. And then then he came back in to win the game. So UCLA 27 defense, probably getting a little better because when you have a chance to win, you play better, right? So I don't know. We'll have to check on the quarterback here. If the volleyball player's playing, Indiana's going to be mighty tough here. Even though we've been playing UCLA, they've been doing well the last few weeks. We have to. I don't think they're going to put up 42 on Indiana like they did on Penn State. So hard to say. They are on a 3-game winning streak with the new offensive coordinator, but I don't see it. Can they keep the game close? I don't think so either. I don't think Indy probably realizes UCLA is getting better. They beat Penn State, so that's going to give them motivation here. I don't see them being flat. I know teams get flat, but I don't see that here. I think Indy, we could maybe bet it over, but Indy's so dominant. They're a strong A with an 11 defense. So it's hard to play those teams over. We did play it over against Oregon and got away with it. In the 30-20 game, I was over 47 or 48 in Oregon, and they went 30-20 because I thought Oregon would score more. But they're holding Oregon to 20. I don't think UCLA is going to get to 20. So it's a hard one because we're trying to figure out if Indy's 11 are just going to shut you out. Like we know Ohio State, you're not scoring on Ohio State. We got them under Ohio State under. Boom. We don't have that here. And so this is a little tougher week because I don't have my Ohio State. I don't even know if I got my Alabama. Yeah, I do against South Carolina. So there's certain teams, like I pointed out in the pros, we don't have the Lions. We don't have Seattle. We don't have the Rams, teams we've been betting on. versus they're on the bye. Well, we don't have Ohio State under. They're on the bye. So it makes it tougher when we find a team and then we can't play them. So we'll see. But this is a good game. I think Indy wins by maybe close to 20, and they'll probably get in the 40s. So it's real close to the lines, I think. Ole Miss and Oklahoma. So he lost on the Georgia under against Ole Miss. Well, he can get revenge here. Oklahoma 5.5, 54.5. Oklahoma, great defense, a 9 defense, where Georgia was maybe a 20 defense or a 19. Old Mississippi, 5.5. I'm tempted to take Ole Miss as a live dog in this game, as they did put a lot of points up on Georgia. Oklahoma doesn't score. They have a very good defense. Is Mississippi going to do what they did to Georgia against Oklahoma? Now, Oklahoma, great defense. Plus, Ole Miss is coming off of the Georgia game. It's hard to go under, but I love playing Oklahoma under because they got a 9 defense. I love those unders. However, is Mississippi going to score enough points? It's 54. We can go under 60. But if Ole Miss does what they did last week, and it's not going to hold up, I think it's a big number for an Oklahoma game. They don't score, and the defense is killer. But Ole Miss is not that defense. They're an over team. They got a 22 defense. They score 40. Hard to play those teams under. So you really have a difference of opinion here. You got a great defense, great under team, Oklahoma, and probably a decent over team in Ole Miss. Although they only beat Kentucky 30-20. So that's where I'm getting confused with Miss. They beat Washington State 24-21, and then they have a big game with Georgia. Well, which team's going to show up here? So that's where it gets tough. Nebraska 743.5. Where the hell are they? Oh, there they are. Nebraska 743.5 to Northwestern. Northwestern shutting out Purdue was big because Purdue's a good offensive team and a good quarterback. Not easy to shut out. Nebraska, we know, good defense, a B team. We've got a good total here of 44. We got a 15 defense Northwestern against a 19 defense Nebraska. So we'll have to check this, but it looks probably like an under game. I have to go Big Tening to get my under, not SEC like I've been doing. Big 12, you go over. SEC, Big 10, you go under most of the games. Kansas State, Kansas 356. Both are over teams. Both Kansas State 27 defense, Kansas 23. This will be a war, big rivalry. Probably points. You don't have the good defense, and Kansas can really rock. As they played Missouri tough, which now you see how good Missouri is. Kansas State gets some good wins, and being a rivalry. Could be a live dog, Kansas State. Could be an over in this either also. App State and Old D. Old D, 1462. They're both over teams, which leads you to possible over 28 defenses. Do we trust the quarterbacks? That's the key. Old D didn't show up against James Madison, I don't think. There's something wrong because they haven't played well the last few weeks. Georgia Tech, our Haynes King. We won with them last week. It's funny how this guy only brings up the one loser I have and not Georgia Tech, the Vanderbilt over, the Oklahoma under. No, I'm going to put out that one game I lost. Frustrating people like that. Syracuse, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, 17.5, 52.5. Syracuse, an over team with the 30 defense. Georgia Tech, an A team with the 20. We've seen them. They went to Clemson and won when Clemson had a team. Syracuse quarterback's out, the starter. He was really good. The backup's playing. He's not that good. Georgia Tech, very strong team. Do we lay 11 with them? I like I say, I like playing them as the dog. I'm not quite sure as the favorite. They are at home. Total of 53. Georgia Tech runs a lot. I don't know if we get there, but it's probably doable. Bowling Green, Kent State. Bowling Green, 747.5. Bowling Green's an E team. Kent State's a Z team. So if you want to bait Bowling Green against the Z team, but they're on the road. Virginia, North Carolina. How we love Virginia this year. Virginia, 10.5, 51.5. North Carolina can't score, 25 defense. Virginia over team with the 23 defense. Belichick hasn't done anything offensively. Really weak. They're 2-4. Virginia's 6-1. They're a real good team with a really good quarterback. So, and they're 10.5. I kind of like Virginia here. I just don't think North Carolina has an offense. So Virginia's going to score, and that'll be it. SMU, Wake Forest, interesting game. SMU 3.5, 54.5. SMU's an A team, 22 defense, had a big win against Clemson last week. Wake, a B team with a 20 defense. They're a pretty good team, Wake. I think they're a live home dog. Total-wise, I'm not sure. I'll have to see more of the stats. I really look at the quarterbacks, and then do they have a balanced offense? So I have the passing and the running in my spreadsheet, and then I look, and what I want is a team that gets 220 running and 220 passing. We found that with Kansas and Baylor and SEC. Most of the Big 12 are like that. Auburn, Arkansas. Let's see. Arkansas, -1, 57.5. Auburn, an under team with an 18 defense. They played a lot of low-scoring games. They just don't score, but they have a good defense. And again, here's another case where I got Arkansas, an over team with a 32 defense. And, what do? They played A&M, and they put up 40 points. They're at home. Auburn with a good defense, but A&M's got a pretty good defense. What's A&M? Where are they? If they're playing this week. A&M has a 23 defense. So, yeah, Auburn's defense is a little bit better. Arkansas, no defense. Auburn should score. I think they're playing both quarterbacks. They have that running quarterback from Oklahoma who doesn't do much. So I think they're going more to a passing quarterback as their backup to split time. Is Auburn a live dog? Probably. They have the defense to be able to win the game. That's what it comes down to, and enough offense and Arkansas's defense. I don't know. This is not. I don't want to fuck with Auburn and go over in an Auburn game. Like it's like going over in an Oklahoma game. It's very hard to do because they have such good defenses. You prefer when they play each other like they did, and that was the lock. Oklahoma, South Carolina, lock under, easy win. That's what you prefer, or Oklahoma, Texas, Texas, Ohio State. They're both strong defenses, so it's hard when you get an explosive team, Arkansas and Ole Miss, playing the strong defensive teams. I got to study that more. What happens in those games? In other words, does the defense dominate the offense, or does the offense still score and the other team then scores, and then you get overs? So I got to see that. Akron, Buffalo 9.5, 47.5. If I can find it. Oh, Next column. Buffalo 9.5, 47.5. Akron's the Z team with the 30 defense. Buffalo and under. Couldn't handle UMass. Now, I did not play UMass, so he can't say I lost that. But UMass is terrible, and they beat them by 7. I mean, it's Buffalo's not very good. Utah State, New Mexico. Now, here's a good game. New Mexico 361. Both are over teams. Utah State gives up 31 and New Mexico 26. This should be high enough to get 61 down to 55, I think. Utah State, though, played a couple of games they didn't score much that I was surprised in. But we'll see. You got to watch how do you get the injury report on Mountain West, right? And so even if a guy's out, you don't know if he's good or not. But yet that's usually what happens. The running back's out. You don't know it really. They don't score. Then he comes back and they put up 40 and you go, well, what the hell happened? That's the problem with Mountain West, trying to bet Mountain West, MAC, Sunbelt. UConn and Rice. UConn 10, 49.5. Up from 48. UConn's an 18 with a 22 defense. They're very good. I think Jim Mora Jr. is the coach. Rice, a W team with the 27 defense. I think UConn I like, but I don't know if I like them on the road in Houston. Rice is in Houston. All right. San Diego State, Fresno State. San Diego State 3, 47.5. They're an A team with the 12 defense. Fresno State's a B team with the 23 defense. Maybe this is an under. Pretty good defenses. Maybe I don't know if I want to bet against the A team. Not sure there. Missouri Vanderbilt, excellent game. If I can find it. All right. Vandy is 2.5, 52.5. This you can play this multiple ways. 2 A teams, Missouri 17 defense, Vandy 20. They both lost to Alabama. That's their only loss. Missouri lost 27-24. They got a great quarterback. We know how good Daggio is. I was watching the LSU Vanderbilt game just before, and he just ripped them apart. And LSU had an 11 defense. So, I'm very aware of the numbers that they're not exact. They play high school teams. They play Alabamas. So you're pretty conscious of, here Missouri at 17, Vandy at 20. We know Alabama put up 30 on Vandy and put up 27 on Missouri. So we believe this should get points. It's up 52. So could we play it over? Absolutely. Can we play Vandy or Missouri? Both great quarterbacks. Absolutely. So this game probably gets played, but I'm not quite sure how. Normally, in my world, it's a tease the dog game. You got a very good Vandy and a very good Missouri. And they both played Alabama, which will help both of them here. Vandy at home, they got a good running back. I saw their defense pretty good. Missouri, very good team. Went to Kansas and won, which at the time I thought was a big win. So this is an outstanding game. Alabama against South Carolina. Here we go. Alabama 12.5, 47.5. Alabama an 18 with a 17 defense. South Carolina an under with a 20 defense. So normally South Carolina, I'm playing them under because Sellers isn't doing crap this year. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he just isn't very good. Alabama, we know they've been smoking hot. Is this the week they're flat? Again, they played Vandy, Missouri, and Tennessee back to back to back, 3 very good teams, and won them. Can they be that strong against South Carolina? Now, again, at Missouri, they barely won. So this is a good test for them. This is where they might be a little flat. getting up for South Carolina. Now, South Carolina probably gets up for Alabama. But then you're stuck. Do I really bet this game under with South Carolina against Alabama, who scores 35 a game and has a good quarterback and everything else? This is again a toughie. Like last week was easy. They were playing Tennessee. You knew there were going to be a lot of points, but they went to Missouri, who has a very good. Missouri's got a 17 defense. South Carolina's is a 20. Vandy's a 20. So against Vandy, they won 30-14. Daggio couldn't score much on him. Bo Priya, Missouri's guy, did put up 24 on him. Norris ain't putting up anything on him, although he is a running quarterback, which has got to scare the shit out of Alabama after that Florida State game. It's funny, Florida State beat them, and they've lost four in a row now. It's a tough one. A normal day, you would take Alabama, but this is tough. And then the total, is probably like 30-14, Alabama, maybe a little bit more. Maybe South Carolina doesn't get to 14, which is entirely possible because they don't score a lot. So I got to get the vibe on that game. Toledo, Washington State. Now, Washington State's improved. They're 1.5, 46.5. They're a W team, but the last few weeks they're playing good ball, like against Mississippi, 24-21. Toledo's an A team, very strong MAC team, going to Washington State. Again, the jet lag and the time change. Toledo's an A team with a 14 defense. Washington State's a W with the 27. But as I said, probably not those numbers since they're getting better. I'll have to look at the last 5. Probably pretty close to it. But again, almost beating Ole Miss. And now you get Toledo. It's a tough one. Illinois goes to Washington. But Washington, West Coast, not Washington, D.C. Washington, 4.5, 54.5. Illinois, over team, 25 defense. Luke Altmaier, good quarterback. Humpty Dumpty is the coach. Washington, an A team with the 20 defense. Washington, 4.5, 55. Good quarterback, not great. He could be great, but I think he's just learning still, although he's going to be better here. I think Illinois is a live dog here, and I think the over is live because Washington can score, and Illinois, got a 25. They played USC like 34-33 or something like that. So they can score. They'll score on Washington. Washington doesn't have that dominating of a defense, and they didn't show up against Michigan last week. So you got them off of a loss. I think it's probably high scoring. Is Illinois a live dog? Hard to say because they're going to Washington, and this game's actually a 3:30 game. So it's actually okay for Illinois. Washington's got problems because it's a 12:30 game for them. So again, it's one of these noon games. The Washington can't get a break on the time. And that's the problem with college football. Michigan, I used to go to Michigan games in the 70s, and it would be 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, Ohio State, 1 o'clock. Now you're big noon, you're 3:30, you're at night, you're playing Fridays. It's all over the place. So it makes it tough. Hey, Todd, Washington defense improved. I like the under. Well, I know it's improved. Illinois can score and has a good quarterback, and that's what I'm and Washington has a good offense. So yeah, it could be an under. It's 55. It's a pretty big number. The over would be 49, 48. So the question is, what's the score? So let's say, what do we think here? 28-24 is a 52. Get you over, get you under, and get you the dog. Can Illinois win the game? Absolutely. They beat SC. They did lose to Indiana by 100 points. but 7 of their defensive backs got hurt in the game trying to tackle these guys. Washington, I like the quarterback. I don't know. The coach is a good coach. He's from Arizona, and they lit it up at Arizona. I don't know, Todd. It's a tough game because Illinois is not bad, and they do score a lot, and you got 25 defense, so it seems more of an over than an under, but I don't know. It seems Illinois is a live dog, but they are going to the West Coast. Washington struggled against Michigan. There you go. So it's a tough one. Western Michigan against Miami of Ohio. We got Miami of Ohio 1.5, 41.5 to Western. Western is an under team with the 17 defense, while Miami of Ohio is an under team with the 22 defense. Now you know why the total is 41, and it makes sense. Probably a low-scoring game. Miami of Ohio does that. Ball State, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, 5.5, 41.5 at home at Northern Illinois. Ball State, the Z team. So I'm much more comfortable taking Northern Illinois to Ball State than Buffalo against Mass. Tulsa Temple, 6, 53.5. Where's that? Okay. Temple is a very good team this year. They got the Sam Houston coach. They're an over team with the 24 defense. They used to be a Z team the last couple of years. They couldn't score, and their defense sucked. So they become a good team. Tulsa is a W team with a 28 defense. So they don't score much. They score about 20, give up 28. We got 6 and 53.5. So you read this as Temple being an over team against a 28 defense in Tulsa. Temple should do some damage. Tulsa kind of a weak offense. Temple with the 24 defense. The game's in Tulsa, though. So maybe it's a Temple play. Maybe you go over. Maybe. Todd, sorry, Washington State. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Washington, Illinois over. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Washington State. Well, let's look. I know I've said that game. Washington State. Okay, so they're playing Toledo. So Toledo's an A team with a 14 defense. Means they score 35 points a game. Otherwise, they're a B team if they score like 28. Washington State's a W team, but playing better. But yes, if we look at the Mississippi game, 24-21, and last week, what did they do last week? Jesus Christ. There's just so many teams now. Okay. They lost to Virginia 22-20 and holding Virginia to 22 points. So I will agree with you there. Washington State, if I can find them now. So they're a 47.5, and they just held Virginia and Miss to 21 points. Pretty fucking good. Toledo is not going to do that going to the West Coast. They're still a MAC team, and they're not that good on the road. So, yeah, I agree with that. Under. Very good one, Todd. BYU, Iowa State. BYU off of the huge win against Utah. It's a big rivalry. They're both in Utah. Iowa State 2.5, 49.5. BYU's got to be a live dog in this game. Iowa State, good. BYU an A team with a 15 defense. Iowa State a B team with a 19. They played a 24-21 game. Yeah, 24-21 BYU Utah 45. And Iowa State's got a 19 defense. Utah had this was 13 and 14 defense. That's why I went under in the game. Should have locked it, but can't lock all of them. Here, the guy forgot to say that I hit that game. Just the Georgia. He's just worried about the Georgia under. He doesn't all the other 15 games I won. It doesn't count. I didn't win money on those. Why do people do that? Like, what is the point? We all know what it is. It's predicting, problem solving football games. You are not going 100%. How do you not understand that concept? All right. So, what do we do with this game? BYU, a live dog, big win against Utah. They're 7-0. They're ranked number 11. But Iowa State, man, they got a great coach. Brocco Breck's a great quarterback. Do we play under or do we play BYU? I don't think you can play Iowa State, but you got to be careful with BYU being flat off of the Utah game. We know it was a huge game. So that's the problem. Look how flat Texas was after the Oklahoma game. They barely beat South Carolina. It was like 13-10. Or is that just Arch Manning being Arch Manning? So BYU, they got to be a live dog here. They looked good. You know, just moving the ball on Utah is a big task, and stopping Devin Dampier is a big task. Just be careful. Iowa State. I would prefer BYU to be a 3-point favorite and take Iowa State as the dog at home. But I think you got to go BYU dog or you got to go under. But even that, Rocco Breck can score. I mean, it's a hard game because of the big game last week. NC State, Pitt 6.5, 56.5. Pitt an 18 with the 20 defense. Eli Hollowitz, the quarterback's really good. NC State's an over team with the 26 defense. That makes me want to go over in the game if NC State's really an over team. I don't know. I don't see him as well. I'm curious. So I'm going to go into the game, and then we're going to see. We'll see what's going on there. All right. So let's look at the last 5. They lose to Notre Dame 36-7. I don't remember that game. They beat Campbell 56-10, which is screwing up my trends because Campbell doesn't count. 21. They lost to Virginia Tech 23-21. They lost to Duke 45-33, and they beat Wake 34-21. So I'm sitting there going, how can they be an over team? They scored 34, 33, 21, and 7. So if I look at the last, and I got to throw Campbell out. See, this is the problem with including Campbell in your stats. That's a high school team, Campbell. So if I look at it, this is what, 67, 70, 88, 95, which is divided by 4. It's about 23 a game. Does not make them an over game. See how you get away from it? So they're really probably an E team. Defensively, they gave up 24, 45, 23, 36, but 23 to Virginia Tech is really bad. So I think this goes to a Pitt game. I was looking at the over, but there's no way they're an over team. And they were losing to Virginia Tech, Duke. Okay, Notre Dame we get. This is at Pitt, who's a very good team. Okay, so there you go. By looking at the schedule, we found Pitt. And if we look at Pitt, Pitt lost to West Virginia 31-24. And then they lost to Louisville 34-27. Okay, they beat BC 48-7, Florida State 34-31, and Syracuse 30-13. So the last 3 games, they're playing good. Even if we go to Louisville, who's got a pretty good defense, they got 27. So they're scoring well into the 30s. And NC State with this 26 defense, giving up 36 to Notre Dame, 23 VTAC, 45 to Duke, 24 to Wake. Yeah. Pitt's our bitch, I think, next week or this week. All right, Florida Atlantic and Navy. I do have a free play we haven't gotten to it yet. So many games. Where is it? Florida Atlantic Navy. Where is the Navy? Oh, come on. Where the hell are they? Here they are. Yeah, it's 10 spaces higher than I had them. Navy, 15.5, 62.5. Florida Atlantic's an over team with a 35 defense, which you would expect a over team to have a bad defense. Navy, an A team with a 21 defense. Navy, 15.5, 62. Excuse me. But I'm not hacking as much. It's all from the Onion. It's amazing. So where are we? So Navy being an A team, but with the 21 defense. Florida Atlantic over with the 35. Am I going to get a lot of points? I never know in an Army-Navy game because they run so much. I'll have to look at that one. Lou Monroe, Southern Miss. Southern Miss is 11.5, 50.5. Lou Monroe is Z team, 31 defense. Southern Miss an over team, 25. I like Southern Miss. They didn't do a lot of scoring last week against a weaker team. So we got to check the box score, make sure our quarterback played. Taiwan, all I'm saying is your board that on the site is not winning as is. If you're playing it different, maker it know the board is an example, but don't ever some people me. I'm not sure that's coherent. I don't understand what you just said. All right, let's go. Lou Monroe, Southern Miss. We did UMass and Central. Central 16.5, 46.5. UMass, the Z team, which we know sucks, 35 defense. Central, an E team with a 25 defense. Central's scoring a little bit. UMass, we know how bad they are. Laying 16. Maybe you take Central and hope they light it up. But UMass, we know, is terrible. But they did play Buffalo close at home. Now they got to go to Central. So maybe Central gets them. Minnesota and Iowa. Iowa, 8.5. Okay. Iowa, 8.5, 39.5. Now I just watched the Iowa Penn State game, and Penn State switched to the two backup quarterbacks. They scored on a blocked field goal. The guy tried a 66-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? And it gets blocked because he's got to kick it low, and then they run it back for a touchdown. Just before halftime, Penn State did that. So Iowa gets the win. Iowa is what? 8.5, 39.5. Again, an under 40 line in an Iowa game. Minnesota, a B team with a 19 defense. Iowa, a B team with a 14 defense. I would imagine this is under because Iowa, watching the Penn State game, it was a lot of running. They don't really open it up and get wide open with wide receiver 3 sets and 4 sets. They're more or less, I'm going to run it down your throat and play defense. So I think this is more of an under game. Minnesota is a very good defense. Baylor and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 4.5, 67.5. I can find it. Okay. Baylor, 4.5, 67. Okay, that hasn't changed. Cincinnati, an A team. Sorbees is playing good quarterback, 19. Baylor, an over team with the 31 defense. We know Baylor. We love them over. They win all the time over for us like they did TCU last week. Cincinnati, they beat my Kansas team. That's all I can say. It was a 37-34 game. They scored in the last minute. Kansas had taken the lead. So since he can score, they will score a ton here. I think it's Baylor. I think it's over 67. You go to 61. You'll definitely be in the 30s. Robertson's the best quarterback, the Baylor quarterback. he can't help it. He doesn't have a defense, but man, does he's the good quarterback. So you put Robertson or Daggio on Oakland, and they're fighting KC for the title. That's the difference. So I don't know why. And then they won't draft that way. They'll draft Arch Manning because he's that, or Prime Junior, instead of Sawyer Robertson and Daggio, which are obvious the best two quarterbacks. So it just blows my mind how stupid these GMs are. And then they're all Z teams, and they're all wondering why they all keep getting fired. They have no idea who's a good quarterback and who's a bad. Now, if I picked up Sawyer Robertson from Baylor and I made him my first pick, he's my quarterback, I'm running the Baylor system, right? I'm running a system he's going to be good at, not, well, let's run this system that he sucks at, because that's what you get with Daniel Jones, and that's what you got with Darnold. They put them in bad systems, and now they're in good systems, or systems good for them, and they're lighting it up, and you go, oh, I didn't know Darnold was any good, or Daniel Jones we think sucks. But if you put him in the right system, so that's the key to it. If you're going to draft Baylor's guy, you got to put him in the Baylor system. All right. Oak State, Texas Tech. Is Texas Tech's quarterback back? I don't know. They're laying 38.5, 56.5. It's a big one. I assume he's playing. Let's see if they give us any information. Sometimes if I go into this, they will say it. Let's see. Oh, it's at the Jerry Dome. You don't really have they don't really have the Arkansas Texas A&M game at the Jerry Dome. It surprises Texas Tech because Jerry went to Arkansas. Well, it's not giving me an injury report. It's probably too early. Just FYI, Texas Tech's 43 points a game, Oak State 16. It doesn't say. We'll have to check. Well, I'll check the news, but I'll do that later. So it's tough in a conference game to lay 40 points, 38.5. Although Texas Tech has a great running back and a great defense. So they could easily beat Oak State. If Morton played, I would lay the 38. I think they'll win 56-0. 56. I wouldn't count on Oak State scoring, and they have a 38 defense. So Tech should just pound them. Texas, Old Mississippi State. This is your free play. Texas, an under team with good old Arch Manning and 11 defense. Mississippi State, an A team with the 20. They play pretty competitive against these better teams and pretty low scoring. So the total is 44.5. We go under there. That's your free play. So you're taking Texas under 50. Great defense, and they can't score. Arch Manning doesn't know what team to throw to. And Old Mississippi State's a pretty good team anyway. So that's what I like when I get. They're a pretty good defensive team, and I know Texas or Oklahoma, South Carolina, are good defensive teams. You got to be careful, though. Alabama's a good defensive team, but they score a lot, so it's hard to go under with them. They fooled me with the Georgia game with a 24-21. All right, TCU, West Virginia. TCU 15.5, 55. This went up from 14.5. TCU, an over team with the 26 defense. West Virginia is a Z team with a 30 defense. West Virginia is terrible. The coach came back, and he still sucks. I can't believe Rich Rodriguez is still able to coach. But they have no – so the Z team, they're not even scoring 15 a game and a 30 defense, which he's famous for not having defenses. And TCU's just explosive. TCU's 5-2. So look for them to open up a can of whoop ass on them. Hard to say if you go over because are you going to get points from West Virginia? So that makes it, if I'm not going to get points, I bet TCU. If I'm going to get points, it's an over because it's a 56. And they got a 30 defense. And TCU does allow points. So could be an over also. Lou, Lafayette, and Troy. Troy, 9.5, 47.5. Lou Lafayette, a W team with a 30 defense. Troy, an E team with a 24. I have no idea. Lou Lafayette's been playing a little better. Their quarterback got hurt early on, so they got to get the backup into it, which I think they're finally starting to. Wisconsin goes to Oregon. Oregon's laying 33.5, 44.5 total. This will be back-to-back weeks. Wisconsin doesn't score. They have a terrible quarterback anyway. Fairly good defense. Total of 44. Oregon, after their loss to Indiana, put up like 100 points at wherever they played last week. Oregon's going to kill them. Do we get over? The problem with some of these games, you get like 38-0 lead, like Ohio State, and they just run the ball, run the clock out, and they don't keep scoring. And that's what you might have with Oregon. I doubt Wisconsin scores. And Oregon will still be pissed after the Indiana loss, that's for sure. But how do you lay 33 to Wisconsin? I mean, that's insane. They lost to Alabama. They didn't lose by 33. Georgia Southern goes to Arkansas State. Georgia Southern an over team. Arkansas State a W. Arkansas State 1.5 and 62.5. Georgia Southern an over team, 35 defense. Arkansas State a W with a 30 defense. So Georgia Southern is a live dog here. They should score on the 30 defense. Question is Arkansas State going to score on the Georgia Southern defense? And therefore, you might not win with Georgia Southern. But I think 7.5, probably good. The total, we got to check Arkansas State, see how strong they are. Because they're a W. They probably scored 20. Probably can get 30 here against Georgia Southern. Stanford goes to Miami. Miami off of the loss to to Louisville. Miami 30.5, 45.5. Now, last year they fell apart when they lost to Syracuse. Miami. Cristobal, terrible coach. Stanford, a W, but just beat Florida State. 27 defense. Miami an A team with the 15 defense. Miami's all there. Stanford has to travel across the coast. But wait a minute, they just beat Florida State, who we find out finally that it's the quarterback that sucks, hence why they keep losing. It's all the quarterback. When you have a bad quarterback, your team. Look at Uglia Buglia last week. It was pathetic. Last year, I mean, for Florida State. So anyway, Miami laying 30. Stanford with the 27 defense isn't terrible. Obviously good enough to be. It's a tough to lay 30, or in our case 24. Really tough. And again, a 45 total. I don't know. Maybe you go over. What was that score last week? Yeah, they beat Florida State 20-13. So they're holding Florida State to 13, but they only got 20. But Florida State's got a great defense. Miami a 15 defense. I don't think we're going to get a lot from Stanford as far as do we go over in the game. Not sure. It's a good game to watch. BC Louisville. Louisville 25-55 to BC. BC's an over team with a 33 defense. They can score. Louisville an 18 with a 21. All right, you just beat Miami. Here's where you let down, right? Here's where they'll be a little flat beating a Miami, like BYU, Utah. This is the prime times you get beat. Not sure. I don't know. I don't know how good Louisville is. 21 defense. I think BC is going to stay close on this game. 20. You get BC in 31. I think's close, but it's you got a 33 defense. I don't know. Louisville looked good against Miami. Close game. I don't know. It's another one I think you watch and learn. Wyoming 4.5, 46.5. This is down from 6. To Colorado State, who fired their coach, and the line went down. Interesting. Colorado State, an even team with a 27. Wyoming, always an under team with a 22. Texas A&M and Bobby. Bobby, you going to this game, the LSU game? He'll watch. When he watches, he'll comment. All right. A&M 2.5, 47.5 at LSU. Daggio had a pretty big day against LSU last week. I was watching this game, and he just lit it up. A&M with Reed will light it up. Total of 47.5. LSU with a 14 defense, but wait a minute. LSU put up 31 on them. Didn't look like a 14 defense. I think it was an 11, and now it's a 14. There must be some high school teams in there. A&M, 23 defense, but they score. What was it, 40, 45, 41 to Arkansas last week. They'll score on LSU. Reed. LSU should do some scoring here. Nussbaum came back, looked better, looked a little bit better against Vanderbilt. Again, a bad quarterback, and LSU can't win. I think A&M's live. Bobby, help us, LSU, home dog. But they just aren't good, even though they got a 14 defense. I think A&M's live here. I'm not sure if LSU's live here. I think the over is live here because A&M's going to score on you. They played that 80-point game with Notre Dame, so they're fully capable of putting up a 40 here and getting us the over by themselves. LSU, not that strong offensively. That's why they're an under team. If they give up 14, they're an under team. They're only scoring 18, 20 points a game. So I don't know, but A&M, do they have that strong of a defense? Arkansas made them look bad. Notre Dame made them look bad. So I don't know. But it is at home for LSU. Michigan State. Michigan 14.5, 47.5. Michigan a B team, 17 defense. Just beat Washington. Just got their ass kicked by USC. Michigan State's an over team with a 32. Just got their ass kicked by UCLA. They were off last week. This game always gives me problems. So I go out and bet Michigan at East Lansing and lose. So I don't want to do that. So I got to go total on the game. I got 47.5. Michigan with this killer defense. The quarterback's okay, not great. Can't really read yet. He shouldn't be quarterbacking yet. He's a freshman, and he looks like a freshman. Michigan State, they'll be emotional. It's a big rivalry, but a 32 defense. I think Michigan is I don't know. It's got to win, but every time they lose at East Lansing. Over under. It's hard going over with this Michigan defense, but Michigan State with the 32 defense. So this is what I got a lot this week, the conflicting. I don't have over. I got under, over, and what do I do? Well, I have to study. Tennessee at Kentucky. Here you go again. I got an over team Tennessee with a E team Kentucky. Tennessee is 9 and 54.5. Kentucky doesn't really score much, but against Tennessee, they might. Tennessee, all right, played Alabama and got, buried, but they scored enough for us to win the over. 37-20. So putting up 20 on Alabama, they'll put up something on Kentucky. Stingy defense, but this year they're not as strong, although they played Texas to a 13-10 game last week. in overtime. I think Tennessee's got to win this game. Joey Aguilar. But this is a big rivalry game in the good old South. Houston, Arizona State. Arizona State 7.5, 47.5. They're a tough team, as we saw. They played Baylor and TCU and beat them 27-24. So they got a really good defense. 24 defense. Houston with the 19 defense. I keep expecting Houston to turn on that defense, and they just don't do. Asha, good morning. Sir, gold price is reduced to 12, whatever in India. Yeah, well, that's because they're following comex. That's okay. It's just a temporary thing. You have to get out of rupees and get into gold anyway. So you can't look at it every day and overreact to it. Just, you're fine. Just stay in gold. Don't sell it. It'll go back up. It's just, it's Madoff and JP Morgan fucking around with paper gold. That's all it is. Just don't worry about it. The BRICS countries, and you're in BRICS, will buy it and buy it and buy it. So Arizona State, they're probably live here. Houston, pretty good. Maybe we go under because it's Arizona State. They play these low-scoring games. And our last game, Colorado goes to Utah. Utah 13.5, 49.5. Colorado 3-4. Utah. So Prime's doing okay. You've got Utah 13.5. So we got to lay 7.5. I'm sure Colorado plays better at home because of the altitude than they're going to play in Utah. 49.5. 24 defense. They'll probably struggle with Dampier. Utah is one of these tough games. They played BYU 24-21, a 45. Here you got a 49. Colorado does not have the defense of BYU. I think Utah can score a lot here. The question is, what's Colorado going to do? And Prime, I think Prime's going to play, even though his feet are bothering him. Probably has gout. Utah minus 13.5. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this one. I gotta look at Colorado more. So I'm gonna go into these grids. So when I say I'm gonna look at it, so let's look at Colorado, Utah. Let's try to figure this one out. So I go into it just by pushing on it. Utah quarterback Devin Dampiers' health is uncertain for Saturday's matchup, giving the Buffs a potential break as they look for a key road win. Okay. So that's huge. I don't know what's wrong with him. This is coming from the Buffalo's wire, so you wonder if it's real or not. Could Bird Ficklin start at quarterback for Utah? Good God, I hope not. So if he did play, Colorado beat Iowa State at home, lost to TCU 35-21, lost to BYU close 24-21. Wyoming 37-20. In Houston, they lost 36-20. So they're scoring in the 20s and giving up in the upper 20s. Utah lost to BYU. They lost to Texas Tech 34-10. And then they beat West Virginia 48-14. And then they killed Arizona State 42-10 with the quarterback out. So you see how important the quarterback is. And then they lose to BYU 24-21. So, yeah, I mean, nobody scored on them, but Texas Tech got 34 and BYU 24. And Texas Tech was a lot of defensive turnovers. But the Arizona State game, no quarterback for Arizona State. So we have to wait for this. Colorado at TCU 35-21, at Houston 36-20. So on the road, they're not as good as at home because of the altitude. So that's what I mean. I go through the game. So I would bet Utah if the starters there because they don't play well on the road. And that is your college football. Free pick. Take Texas, Mississippi State under 50. And in the pros, you can play it with, of course, Dallas over again, 50. So Dallas over 44 with Denver. So at first you might say, well, Denver's got a good defense. And then you realize you watch the Giant game and you go, nah, they don't. They do. See, this is what the problem is that you really got to sort out. So if we go into college, it's the high school game against Albany State, and they win 62-0, which skews all the numbers. So you got to kind of dump it out, or the Akrons, or the UMass, those type of games. In the pros, it's like Arizona. Well, they beat Carolina and they beat New Orleans and they beat Miami. 3Z teams. They're not, because of the schedule now. It's so stupid. They don't play the good teams. I think they do play a few good teams, and whoever, like Arizona, is going to have to play the Rams, Seattle, and San Francisco. So those are good teams. They're just getting breaks now. So you kind of have to read it. Who are they beating and who aren't they? That's why you get a little like the Lions. They went to Buffalo and won, but now maybe it's not that good. Baltimore sucks. Then they go to Kansas City and get killed. They went to Green Bay and got killed. They got Buffalo coming up. They got Philly coming up. They got the Rams coming up. So that's what you're trying to do. The Lions, too much emotion. They gotta play in black jerseys to play better. I mean, it's so stupid. But that's what Chuck Noll said for the Steelers. If you got to get emotion, then you're not on the team, because we don't get emotional here. It's business. We play to win. It's a business thing. So you've got to kind of look at the schedule. Are they beating KC and they're beating Buffalo? You're beating Philadelphia. You're beating Arizona, Atlanta. Who are you beating? You're beating Miami, New Orleans, teams without quarterbacks. So that's why you got to dig in sometime. Now, most of the big games we notice, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, we know all about them. We watch them. They're on the TV. They're better games to watch, the better players. So we don't really need to dig in much, just verify injuries. Like last week, the running back, Jam Miller, played, and we had it over, and we went over, and he did score a touchdown, I believe. And that's the key to it. And this week, Utah, Devin Dampier, great quarterback. We got to make sure he plays. So you got to make sure the injuries, you got to make sure the injuries, because you got to make sure you got the right team. It's where it gets hard is Temple Tulsa. Do I got my team, or, is my star running back, who I have no idea the name, out, or is he playing? I know who the Temple's quarterback is, Simon. He's got like 13 touchdowns and 0 picks. I do track all the quarterbacks on every team. I mean, look at touchdowns, interceptions, yards. Where it gets skewed is Haynes King at Georgia Tech. He runs a lot, so you don't see big numbers. You see like 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, but he runs for 10 touchdowns, and I really can't pull that in. So I know he's a good runner, so I don't worry about it. And I, like last week, we had Georgia Tech. We knew Haynes King's going to do his thing, and they buried Duke, showing a very good defense, by the way. So teams ebb and flow. They get better as the year goes on. You get an injury like Syracuse. Their quarterback's dynamite, gets hurts his Achilles. He's out playing backup ball. Well, I can't use the numbers because they include the first quarterback. So I got to use just the new quarterback, and I'm kind of paying attention to So you're watching your team. Some grow, some don't, some injuries, and so therefore they're not what they appear to be. Um, NC State, as we analyze them, they were an over team. They're not because they beat Campbell 56-0. You take that out, and they're scoring 20 a game. And here they got Pitt, and Pitt's laying 7. You go, hell, yeah, that's probably a winner. You'd think to go over, but now you realize NC State doesn't score that much, so the bet's Pitt better than over. Now we know is we just go over every week with Baylor, basically. So, and that's where it gets. That's why I get so many picks, is because I can go each conference, find the over teams, find the under teams, find the Z teams, and I can bet the Z team and Conference USA. Like tonight, we got Middle Tennessee's a Z team against Delaware. We could bet Delaware. We're not going to, but we could because they're the Z team. And it's like that in every Oklahoma State's a Z team. So you have those different type of teams. So that's why I play so many games, because it's the same pick. Ohio State, Wisconsin under, and then you go Oklahoma, South Carolina under. I mean, it's easy. But then like this week, I don't have Ohio State to play under. I'm in trouble. I got to find another under team. And then I got Oklahoma, but they're playing Mississippi. Well, it kind of fucks me because can I play that game under? Well, it'd be under 60. Will Ole Miss, I doubt they'll do what they did to Georgia. All they got to do, Oklahoma, is play a 2-deep zone. I'm surprised Georgia didn't do that because they have some fast. I saw some wide receiver on Ole Miss, very fast. And then Georgia was lightening up. Well, Oklahoma's not going to light them up. But Ole Miss doesn't really have a defense. They're a 22 defense. What you want is Ole Miss, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and bet the game over. That's what you want. So when you play the under team, it makes it, like I said, I gotta kind of do some research on that and see how those games end. Are they low scoring? Are they high? Or probably a little of both, depending on how the game goes. All right, let's see what gold's doing. Now gold, it's 1 o'clock almost, so it should be up from where it was at 10. Yes, it is. 40.46. So you can see the 10 o'clock drop, and it gets down to a point, and then it gets bought, and then it gets bought some more, and we're at 40.46. I don't know how it's down 50. It was like 40.46. Well, it doesn't really close. I think they go in 24-hour increments, but anyway, 40.46 down 50. Still a huge buying opportunity. And again, if you buy physical, which is what you should do, you shouldn't buy ETFs, you shouldn't buy stocks. When you do this, it's worth a lot more than 40.46. That's the key to it. Silver, 48.32. Well, we know silver hit 53. So how can it not be worth 53 if it hit 53? Right? That's why I say silver's about at least $1,000 an ounce, because this is pure bullshit with silver. I mean, like these downs. Why? There's no downs in the physical. It's just there's demand. It's going up, up, up. I think one thing that is, I heard a lot of pension funds and insurance companies are adding gold to their portfolios, but they can't buy physical gold like me and you can. They go to the ETFs. Well, the ETFs don't have any physical gold. So I think this is the ETFs trying to buy it cheaper, getting it sold. So JP Morgan shorts and the ETF then goes and buys gold a little bit cheaper because a lot of people are discovering gold, but the pension funds and the insurance companies can't buy. Like, we can go buy 50 ounces. They can't. So they get into the ETFs, but there's no physical gold in it. They're all going to get fucked because there's no physical gold in ETFs. It's all paper. And they divide it out. It's like 10,000 to 1. Oh, here's an ounce. And 10,000 of you own this ounce, although you'll never get it because I only have 1 ounce and I'm going to keep it. So I think that's part of it. This is all about making the price cheaper so somebody can buy. That's it. There's no profit taking. There can't be. It's not physical, it's paper. So this can't be profit taking, and it isn't. And it's all lowering the price so somebody can buy it. The ETFs, I don't know. The US is smart enough to buy gold. I think the characters they're in crypto, so I don't think they're that smart. They're in the whatchamacallit. They're in the stable coin, the Bitcoin. I looked at Bitcoin today just because I haven't looked at it in months, and it was like 108,000. I mean, it goes nowhere, and it's all Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor, Trump, and Larry Fink are the only people that buy Bitcoin and are trying to manipulate the price. So it's another Madoff. Be careful of Bitcoin. You don't want it instead of gold. It is not money. It never will be money because it's not wanted by everybody, and it's not you. You can't go to a grocery store or a restaurant and say, "Hey, I got Bitcoin." They won't take it. They will take silver. The restaurants will take silver. I'm not sure about the grocery stores. I don't think they're smart enough to take silver yet. When I went to Toyota and I asked the guy, "Will you take gold for the car?" He says, "Well, you'll have to turn it into money." And I go, "Why do you want money?" So it's funny. I was trying to teach him Bitcoin and gold and buy gold. And he was kind of looking at me. And then the next time I went in, I get free oil changes because I give him football picks. And so I go to the oil change and he says, "Oh, I started buying gold because one of the parts dealers every Friday takes all his money that he's got and he buys gold every week." And then so because he did that, then he started buying gold. I says, "Well, I told you that. You're not giving me credit." So he didn't buy the gold because I told him until he saw the guy. Part of it was me, but most of it was his buddy at the auto parts store where he gets parts from, dumps his dollars for gold every Friday or whatever, often. Anyway, I don't really. We're 2 hours in, so that's good. Keep in mind with football, we will have losers. I am not. I'm not an oracle or a. I like to think I'm a grandmaster. I was thinking about that for something, and I said, "Yeah, I'm like a grandmaster in chess. I kind of visualize the games, but don't think for a minute I'm going to go 100%." And it's just naive to think I will. And you're going to lose some games. That's why I tell you to play your bankroll, and that's why I tell you one game shouldn't cost you. And of all the games that he put a bunch of money on, that wasn't my lock. If you're going to bet big, and I don't know if that's big or not, on Georgia, Florida, then what did you have on Oklahoma and USC? 5,000? I mean, that's my point. That's why I have the locks. That's the biggest bet you should make of the locks. So the USC Oklahoma under should have been the biggest. So if you're betting, if you're betting $200 on a game, you should be able to afford it. It should be in your bankroll, and you can't worry about it. You're going to lose. You're going to lose some of the games. I'm sorry. That's the way reality is. And sorry that you lost, but everything's posted. Just go to my history. I did this morning, and everything's there. So this was last week's games, and then if you go to the history tab, You go to the history tab right here and you punch it in. There you go. You got all the games. They say win or lose. Up, I lost the Florida Georgia under. There it is. I lost it. Yep. Oh, but I won the USC Oklahoma lock. I won that one, and I won USC UCLA and Oklahoma under, Alabama over. So, yeah, I don't hide my picks. They're there. The winners, the losers. And that's the point of the history. So I show you what I played, right? I mean, but you can't possibly think somebody can go 100%. That's why I warn you, play your bankroll. If your bankroll is 500 a game, play 500 a game. But you can't say I lost the $500 game. I'm assuming you won more on the lock than that. So you gotta be realistic here. This is not, I'm not like a psychic that can. I am psychic, but I can't pick every game right. I thought Georgia under against Ole Miss after the Washington State game would be a good under. Yeah, Georgia played Alabama under 24-21. Mississippi against Washington State 24-21. It was a pretty high number. I think it was in the 60s. So that's what I thought. I love Florida too, and Florida won. The under in Florida. I played Oklahoma under twice. I played USC twice. That's what I did. I lost Washington, Michigan, and I lost the UCLA over because the quarterback got hurt. So that's reality. It's like buying a stock. Do every stock you buy go up? No. Do you go to the broker? Oh, I lost on Coca-Cola. I hope not, because he's got nothing to do with it. He's just a salesman looking for commission, right? I'm not a salesman looking for commission. I'm trying to make you money by my picks, and most of the time you're going to win because I pick a lot more winners than losers, which is the exercise. So that's the point. So I get surprised when the customer comes and says I lost. Well, yeah, I didn't. You had the pick and it lost, and you had other picks that won. So why do you come and try to? I don't know what the object of that is. If you want to send an email to me, send me an email, but don't put it on class. People won't understand it, and I don't like that. I don't get the assertion. Do I sit there and say I picked 100%? No. So this is a friendly family. This is a friendly. I'm giving you a lot of picks that nobody's paying for. When I go through it, I'm giving you free picks. They've been winning. Not everyone, but the last few weeks they've been hot. That's it. I mean, I give you Dallas, Washington over, and it wins. All right. I say it won, and okay. That's the point of it. I do say I lost the Tampa Detroit game, but then I won the Houston under and I won the Dallas over, and this is. But this is this is what happens. You're going to have losers. If you can't understand that, then you probably shouldn't be betting, right? Because you're going to have losers. That's just the nature of the beast. But if I have more winners than losers, which is why I say 18-4, because I picked 22 games, or no, 20 games, 16 winners and 4 losers. That's what I'm saying. We don't know in a teaser. I played Oklahoma under twice in 2 different teasers. Are we going to call them? I'm not going to call them both. I'm just calling what I did. Then I went 8-1 in the pros. So I had 24-5 this week. So 25 games, I had 18 winners and 5 losers or whatever. And that's a fact, and that's posted, and that's on my history. So I don't get people like that doing that kind of stuff. Anyway, so gold's starting to make its move back. We'll be fine. Mark's Facts. Hi, Mark's Facts. How are you? New to the class? Um, question, comment, Marks? You related to Karl Marx? I hope not. Um, so that's what we do. Economics, again, this is just pushing the price down so it can be bought. So the gold and silver, and why there's no physical price is beyond me. I don't get how you can have something like gold and silver and not have a real price for it. And why does everybody use COMEX? It's paper derivative option price. Why is Russia and China using it? Although I don't think they do, but we're not getting to the real price of gold. We're in a unique situation. We're able to buy it cheap because this is at 4,000 and what, $50 now. It's cheap. It's worth a lot more than that because of the demand for it. So keep that in mind. That's where it is. So anyway, anything else? Questions, comments? We'll go. I think that's it. So again, put onions on your feet to get rid of the hacking cough. And you can see I really haven't hacked too much, a little bit here and there, but not much. And I slept pretty good. And all I did was put it right on my foot. I just put the 3 on and it held my hand, and there's my foot. Apparently, the foot's a good receptor. It's very nerve active and everything. So when you put the onion in it, the onion is very strong antioxidant. And so you just pop. Now, this is for cough. I don't know that I do it for gout, but maybe I'll try. But so I have a sweet onion. I just cut it down, took 3 of the portions on the foot, 3 on the other foot. And it's just like, wow. I mean, I could feel it, not right away, but within an hour. I also put it on my neck, but then I realized it's not my neck that's the problem. It's my sinus. So I'd have to somehow put the onion there. So I took it off, put it on my feet. But I guess the feet is key. It's a very key reactor in the body. I'll show you the video to watch if you'd like. It's our Dr. Barbara O'Neill. Oh, I didn't like it. Here you go. Never sick again after drinking this. This stops cough and cold in just 30 minutes. This is I don't know why I didn't like it. I'm going to like it now. So anyway, this stops cold and cough in just 30 minutes. So this was onions. She put the kid was coughing and she put onions on the kid's feet and put socks over it. The kid didn't cough the rest of the night. Anyway, if you're interested, this is the video. Jesus. With Barbara O'Neill. 22 minutes. But it's basically cut up the onions, put it on your feet, put socks on if you want, go to sleep, and your cough will be gone. And I'm pretty good showing that. She's helping me grow here on the top a little bit with castor oil and coconut oil. And I just take it, I nuke it, and then I just rub it on. And you can see the hair. It's amazing. Anyway, she's very good. So is our other doctor, Stan Engren or whatever. Very good thing. Stop diabetes. Don't eat carbs. Don't eat sugar. Diabetes will go away. See, the media wants to scare you, and that's what they're probably doing with gold now, is trying to scare you into, oh, I better sell it. It's going down. It's going to crash. Warren Buffett, oh, it's going to crash. Buy treasuries. The fuck would you buy treasuries for? You'll never get paid back because we got a $37 trillion debt from the government. So how are they going to pay it? My friend's working today for the DOD in Florida. He says, I'm not getting paid. What are you working for? Well, if I don't work, they're going to fire me. Well, if you're not getting paid, what's the difference? So he's looking for other work, as am I. I keep looking for work and I keep getting nothing. So it's okay. I'm making money on gold and silver. And this is a temporary spot. I still look for $10,000 gold and I still look for $1,000 silver. Nothing's changed. The inflation or money printing, making the dollar worthless, has not gone anywhere. So the same theory works. This is still worthless. You still want to sell it for gold and silver. It's still going to create everybody into gold because it's also in euros, Swiss francs, British pounds, Canadian dollars. All of these are worthless. So you only have an option, which is to go into gold and silver, not crypto. Crypto is not an option. It's not money, right? It's held by Saylor and Trump and Larry Fink, and that's it. It's not like everybody's into gold. Even the central banks do not hold Bitcoin. They do not have crypto. They only have gold and silver. Well, they have gold. They'll probably start buying silver as gold gets really expensive. But this whole notion of this price fixing and these options lowering gold $200, it's just bullshit. Okay, they did it, but notice it didn't go under 4,000. Notice it's 4,060 now. Probably Thursday's usually a good day. What's today? Tuesday? Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. So probably Thursday, everything goes back because it's all on sale. And if I had more money, I'd be buying gold and silver. I'd be at the guy's store right now. Everything on sale. But I've already done this 5 years ago. I sold everything, got into gold and silver. So I got it at 1700. And now I just sit back and go, yeah, it's nice. The price is going up. So anyway, the key lesson here, as Taiwan keeps saying, is you got to know who to trust, but nobody can go 100%. And so I'm baffled that he's questioning that, or he lost, and maybe it was just a comment. I don't know. But you are going to lose. You're going to win more with me than you lose, but you will lose, and some. And then it's how to bet, and it's your bankroll. So he should have made a lot of money last week. I still go 16-4, and then teasers. I don't know what I went because, again, I have teams in 2 teasers. So I don't know. What did I pay? 25 teasers and go, I don't know, 18-7 or whatever I went. But it should have made money. And that's the object of the game. So anyway, I think that's it. So gold, silver will go right back up because you haven't solved the problem. This is still worthless. And like I say, I don't agree with Egon at 99%. I think this is 100% gone. I think it's worthless. Yeah, we go to the grocery store and we can use it. But a lot of grocery stores say we don't want money. They don't want paper money. They'll take credit cards and debit cards, but they won't take cash, which I don't understand. So the funny part is they are taking cash. They don't realize that because they're taking cash that is just electric. It's not digital. It's electric. Your debit card is electric. It's not digital, as is your credit card. Meaning I need $1,000 in the bank to use my debit card and spend $1,000. If I don't have the money in the bank, I can't use my debit card. I can use my credit card, which is kind of a loan, where, okay, I'm going to go get gas, $50. I'll put it on my credit card and I owe it later. Where debit you need now, but both times you need to pay it in cash. And in both times it's electric, not digital. Anyway, what else? So football, keep your eye on the changes. Or if you bet basketball or baseball, whatever you bet, it's always different. The variables change. Fields being benched, Tua being benched. Now you got to know. Look at Flacco goes to Cincinnati, lights it up. You've got to be able to understand the player and then the effect on Fields being benched by the Jets, and they go to Tyrod Taylor. So you have to understand that, and then you got to be able to read it and then figure out what to do with it. Simple as that. College, you've got to the key to college is you have certain games, and then you got to bet them stronger than other games, right? And that's the key to it. Well, do I want to play Southern Miss or do I want to play Notre Dame, right? And so you're determining that what you play, and you've got so many games and so much going on that you got to be select. Okay, I'm going to play SEC. Oh, okay, Big Ten. Oh, I got Baylor. And you just kind of weed out. That's why I got a lot of games because of the conferences, and then I kind of weed out some of them. Like I didn't play. Who didn't I play last week? There were some games I had circled, but I didn't play them. Like I think Houston under, and it went over, and I didn't play it. So there you go. So I'm kind of problem solving it. I'm problem solving. That's what I'm doing. There's a game. Minnesota plays San Diego. The problem is predicting the final. And that's what you're doing. And then you're solving that by saying, well, I think it'll be this and that. Like I said, on the Dallas-Washington game, I predicted 35-31 Washington or Dallas, which is a 66. It came in 66, 44-22. So for over-under purposes, I nailed it. Now, I didn't hit the score because it wasn't 35-31. It was 44-22. At the end of the day, I got the 66 and I bet it over and I won with it. So that's the key to it. So I got to bring in my I'm just going through a few of my teaser trends in the NFL. College, I've already looked at it. I got to check some injuries. Are we missing Devin Dampier at Utah? How strong a play would that be anyway? When I'm hemming and hawing and I'm going, well, you could play the over, you could play the team. Those are going to be very small bets. Unless I can figure it out, they're going to be very small. It's when I really see, this is Baylor, TCU, this is an over game. And that was a very big bet. You jumped on that one. Oklahoma, South Carolina under. But again, this week I don't have many Oklahoma, South Carolina unders. I have Oklahoma playing Ole Miss. I have A&M playing LSU or whatever. So I've got over playing under, and it's a mess. So that's why some weeks are better than others. When I get the right matchups, like last week, I told Titus it's Christmas. This week, it's going to be New Year's. It's not going to be Christmas. There's a lot of maybes and over unders playing each other, and so I got to figure that out. Anyway, I think that's about it. Any questions, comments before I leave? Good luck on your football again tonight. It's college. Middle Tennessee, Delaware minus 954. They're an over team. Middle Tennessee's a Z team. If you like betting against the Z team and you desperately want to bet Conference USA, I would think Delaware would be a small play. And Missouri State, New Mexico State. Missouri State's a W. New Mexico State's an under, even though they have a 24 defense. They don't score much. Maybe you go under. Maybe you take New Mexico State as a home dog. I don't know. I'm not touching it, but those are the games tonight. Tomorrow we got Minnesota, San Diego. At San Diego. San Diego's 3.5, 44.5. Wentz against Herbert. What do you do with it? Minnesota, a fairly good defense. Played Philly pretty tough, But then you kind of question how good's Philly this year. I don't, you win the Super Bowl, that you don't have that, that, you know, you're not mad. You've won the Super Bowl. And that's what happens to the winner. It's hard to repeat. Very hard to three-peat because you've won and you have nothing left to play for. But look at KC; they did lose, and now they're mad, and now they're starting to play. And that's all you want is, are they going to play or not? And half the league. I mean, I'm seeing guys helping the other team, guys up, and they're shaking hands after the game. It's like, no, this isn't. You hate the other team, but that's not what it is. It's not good. Anyway, so that's tomorrow. We'll try to figure that out. Now, San Diego, 3.5, 44.5. Wentz against Herbert. Minnesota, 21 defense. San Diego, 23. Both are under teams because neither really have a good offense. If they had a good offense, they wouldn't be under teams. So maybe you go under. You really don't know because I would have thought Minnesota, Philly. Well, I did win under on it, but I would have thought it was 20-10. It was 26-22. And I know I hit it. I hit it by 1 point, but that's the key to it. I think I was under 47 and it was a 46 or something like that, or 48. I think I was 49. Anyway, that's what you're looking at. And so let's take our last look at gold. And it's 40.55. So you notice how it gets down. And people who look at the charts are just ridiculous. You can't look at the chart. There's demand for gold. 48.17 silver, it's very low. It's been at 53. So how can it be under 53? You're valuing it at 53. Now it's 48. How did it go down? Nobody sold. This doesn't show selling. This is paper. So this is why it's all bullshit. Anyway, have a wonderful day. www.teaserking.com. Thanks for class. Hope you enjoyed and learned. And keep in mind, I do not go 100%. I don't claim to go 100%. You will have losers. Unfortunately, I have losers. Everybody has losers. It's the nature. Look, you're losing money if you're holding the dollar, right? Your dollar's losing value every day. So that should be your biggest concern, right? You're losing every day, and you buy gold and silver, which normally offsets that and goes up. And that's the nature of the game. And if you're gonna bet on football, I'm gonna have losers. It's unfortunate. I don't want to have losers. I think I win every game, but that's not what happens. You get injuries, you get bad coaching. Hey, let's go on 4th down at our own 35 because I don't know because I'm an idiot. So anyway, that's what's going on. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Don't worry about gold and silver. Nothing's changed. It's still very much high demand and low supply. The price will just keep going up. This is just a temporary thing. Bullshit. So somebody can buy you the ETFs or somebody. But I think COMEX is gone now because they got to cover the gold and silver options that went down. China's buying and asking for delivery, and they got to come up with gold and silver, which they can't. It's not out there. So I think COMEX does not have long to live. All right. We don't care. We'll price it. China will price it. It's fine with us. As long as we get a real physical price. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com.